The more I think about the recent Pokemon Home news, the more I realize that Pokemon has now become untouchable in the monster collecting genre, and it's only going to get better from here. The features inside of Pokemon Home, with the unprecedented announcement of an expansion pass for Pokemon Sword and Shield, is giving us everything we've wanted from Game Freak and more. It's actually insane. That instead of getting a third version, an enhanced version, a full price game that doesn't give us too many more features, we have to restart our save file, we're getting more content than any other third version of a Pokemon game for half the price. Well, that's a lot of complaints tacked away right there. And with Pokemon Home, every other complaint has been handled while giving us quality of life improvements we didn't think we'd ever have in a Pokemon game. And then you have to realize, this is only the beginning for Pokemon on console. This is how they are starting off their journey on the Nintendo Switch, by creating a hub that's only going to get more supported in the future, and then doing everything right with the most recent games. But naturally, idiots are upset about this, and they have no valid argument that if you're against Pokemon Home and the Pokemon Sword and Shield expansion pass, you are no longer a Pokemon fan. You're just an entitled brat that will never be satisfied, so please, go and pollute Tim. Be the 10,000 voices giving 20,000 complaints to the developers, and just have that game crumble in its own toxicity at this point, because that's all that's going to happen. And the more I look into it, the more I even discover things about Pokemon Home that make it better than I thought. You'll even be able to request Pokemon that you haven't registered in Pokemon Home's National Dex on the GTS. Now, you used to have to be able to search the Pokemon by name in the National Dex to get it, but with this, all of the Pokemon information is available, and you can just grab the Pokemon that you need to complete your National Dex. But we're going to go into the stupidity from here. So if you want all of the Pokemon, you have to buy both versions. Absolutely false. Buy the expansion pass for both versions. False. Pokemon Bank, Pokemon Home, so $200 to catch them all. Okay, this idiocy is untouchable, because you can't even get all of the Pokemon between both versions of Pokemon Sword and Shield in the National Dex. And to get all of the Pokemon in the National Dex, you have to get a ton of games. Because we can take a Pokemon like Nidoran, for example. In Generation 7, before Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, so the majority of Generation 7, Nidoran was not available. So in the 3DS era of Pokemon, if you wanted to have the National Dex, you had to have all of the games. Or you have to get a more expensive game like Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, as opposed to Pokemon X and Y. But then I'm wondering if there's actually some X and Y exclusives that you can't get between Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, Sun Moon, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, stuff like that. So there's a lot of weird gaps in the National Dex, which only proves that bring back National Dex is for fools. It's always been this way, but we never had those complaints, and that's because of how Pokemon works. Pokemon is a community-driven game. If I have Pokemon X and Y, I skip Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, Pokemon Sun and Moon, and I get into Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, I have Pokemon that other people that skipped X and Y and came in at later points have. So I can breed a ton of Nidoran, trade it off, and then that's how you eventually complete the Dex. You cannot do it by yourself without spending hundreds of dollars. It's always been that way, and now with the expansion pass, it's cheaper to complete and get the National Dex than any other era of Pokemon. And somehow this guy is complaining about it. Also, you don't need the expansion pass to get all of the new Pokemon. That if someone catches a Talonflame, they trade it to you without the expansion pass, and now you have a Talonflame. So the $30 is completely optional for access to the over 200 new Pokemon, which brings us to a majority of the National Dex available inside of one game, which again is more than we've ever had inside of any Pokemon game or any era of Pokemon. It's absolutely ridiculous. So you're paying $30 to actually have the expanded gameplay inside the games. But if you only care about the Pokemon, it's completely free, which is why I just said, like, all of this is wrong. But then people are upset about how much it costs. So then we've got this. This is not what we wanted, so we won't stop. Imagine making your Pokemon just sit there for 12 months for 12 euros because Game Freak is lazy enough to not copy the home model and stats into the game. This comment is complete and total indefensible nonsense. That no, your Pokemon are not just sitting there for X amount of time soaking up your money because they have functionality inside of it, and there's also going to be a majority of the National Dex that is going to be able to go into the games. So you're getting a massive amount of benefit while also having achievements and other gameplay benefits inside of Pokemon Home. just because Game Freak is lazy and not enough to copy the home models and stats into the game. This is complete nonsense as well. This is what I mean, like, the entire comment is just bad, because it's objectively less lazy to make a separate dedicated app to remedy the problems that would happen inside of the game. That if Pokemon Home was inside of Pokemon Sword and Shield natively, it would be a mess. That what people aren't realizing is I now have access to the GTS on an app outside of my games. So the GTS doesn't interfere with my gameplay. That is like the best case scenario. Same thing for Wonder Trading. And now the National Dex is available in all of my games forever now. That if the next Pokemon game comes out, Diamond Pearl remakes, years from now, Generation 9, the games after that, Generation 10, it's all going to be stored in my Pokemon Home, and the National Dex is going to be kept there. The alternative is just dragging my Pokemon along, and then I have to squeeze them into the new game, put them back into Pokemon Bank, because let's just say, like, it's not Pokemon Home. It's just the bland, one-dimensional Pokemon Bank transfer service for every game from now until the end of time. But with this, it's like all of my Pokemon that touch Pokemon Home are now tracked, and they actually have value and benefit more so than if I was just moving them from game to game just to get those stats if this arbitrary National Dex thing existed for over 1,000, 1,100, 1,200 Pokemon, and then I'm eventually just going to have to put them back into Home, or not Home, Pokemon Bank to rot if Pokemon Home didn't exist. And then again, there's just like crazy quality of life things. Sort by National Pokedex number. This is like all the fact that you need to know that Game Freak is listening. They've put so many quality of life, so many extra features into Pokemon Home, it's only going to get more support from here. So once again, this is everything that we've wanted, and as I showed earlier on in this video and have been talking about for the last half year, the whole National Dex argument is just nonsense. We are getting, actually we already are over 1,000 Pokemon, including alternate forms, and it's just going to get worse from there. What about Generation 9, Generation 10, 11? We don't even have generations anymore. We're getting new Pokemon all the time. Galarian Slowpoke was just introduced after the launch of Generation 8. Generation 7 with Pokemon Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon gave us new species as well. So if we're just going to be slapping in Pokemon non-stop now, it's going to become bloated and impossible to manage. The best way of handling this is with Pokemon Home, and the amount of functionality they have given this hub, which is everything that Pokemon fans have wanted as well. We want like a hub where we can interact with our games and then just kind of take a break from everything and take stock of what's going on. This would not work inside of Pokemon Sword and Shield, and even someone like me that's been supporting Game Freak through the National Dex, through Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, I feel like I didn't even give them enough credit for how seamless this experience looks. Like even the Pokemon Global Link is being merged into Pokemon Home. Having a place where all of your Pokemon can gather, which is actually like the catchphrase of Pokemon Home, is genius. And it works so well. Because imagine, okay, like, fine, we just have to have every feature. Pokemon Sword and Shield is so incomplete, and Game Freak is so lazy, we must cram everything into Pokemon Sword and Shield. Would you really want to attempt to access the Pokemon Global Link before it got shut down on your Nintendo Switch? It was already hard enough to sign in and get to work for the 3DS era of games, and now it's going to be updated and work better with all of your other Pokemon. And it also like septuples as a Pokemon app. With the mobile version of Pokemon Home, you'll be able to see more than just Pokedex entries, check the Pokemon's abilities, as well as the moves it can learn. So it's not like a complete Pokedex app that would also give you like stats and like where to find all the Pokemon and stuff, but this is still better than we've had for anything else, and I feel it fits best in Pokemon Home instead of just crammed in the games when you have like the limited navigation tools of the Nintendo Switch, instead of just condensing it, consolidating it into an app, and then having it work with everything else. How is this a bad thing? Oh wait, it isn't, unless you're an idiot. And let's talk about the 12 pounds, because even with Nintendo Switch Online, which isn't needed for Pokemon Home, if we have Nintendo Switch Online and we also have the, the $15, actually let's go and get the actual pricing, $16 for 12 months, gotta make sure we're accurate here. So Nintendo Online, let's go and pull up these numbers. So Nintendo Online, that's going to be $20 a year, plus the $16 a year, so $36 a year. For $3 a month, you have online connectivity for every game in the Nintendo Switch library, so it's not just Pokemon. Splatoon, Mario Kart, Super Smash Bros., other online games, you've got that going on. You also have a NES and Super Nintendo library for that $36, and you have a more expanded Pokemon bank that holds all of your Pokemon that you've been keeping for the last couple decades. How does this compare to other services? Xbox Gold is $9.99 a month, and you save 50% with a yearly subscription. That's still going to be $60 a year, so much more expensive. PlayStation, 12 months, $60 a year, or cheaper if you just kind of do something like that and then a free trial or whatever. So you get more out of Nintendo Switch Online, and if you're a Pokemon player, adding in Pokemon Home, than you do with other major game publishers and their online service to be able to play online with your friends. And here's my favorite one, because anyone that's saying your Pokemon are being paywalled, you're restricted from having access to your Pokemon because of money, they're just wrong. People complaining that you have to pay to get all of your Pokemon Home are simply ridiculous. Let's do some basic math. Buy Pokemon Sword and Shield on the eShop for $60. Get 300 gold points. Use 300 gold points to buy 1 month of Pokemon Home Premium, because the price is $3, and 1 gold point is effectively worth 1 cent. So you have $3 in gold points from purchasing Pokemon Sword and Shield that you can then use for the premium plan to get that 1 month to move all of your Pokemon that you've been keeping with you into your Pokemon Sword and Shield games. Also, Pokemon Bank is going to be free for the first month when it launches with this. So that's another thing that you can just do to prove that Game Freak isn't trying to greedily take your money and they're blocking you from your Pokemon with some kind of paywall. No, get Pokemon Bank free for 1 month with the release of Home. Have all of your handheld Pokemon in Home with no additional cost. GG, easy. So the more you go into it, the more invalid it is. And we can just talk about other games, because this is what I was talking about. This is just the foundation. Pokemon has now hit an almost perfected state. Like, yeah, there's a lot of things that could still be better about Pokemon Sword and Shield or the games, or maybe adding a bit more in Pokemon Home. But at this point, you cannot ask for more. If you demand anything more of Game Freak at this point, you are entitled, or you're just a hater and you're not even a fan of Pokemon at this point. So, I mean, if we compare it to other ecosystems, because for right now, you're paying a little more than $1 a month for a subscription service to the largest franchise in the world that is now actively supporting and updating with constant features, games, and stuff like that. So if we compare this to something like World of Warcraft, a 6-month subscription, $12.99 a month, $77 per half year. So if you actually play World of Warcraft for a year, it's more expensive than having a year subscription of Pokemon Home, Nintendo Online, Pokemon Sword and Shield Expansion Pass, as well as Pokemon Sword and Shield. So you're getting you're getting more than a year's worth of gameplay out of this, because the Crown Tundra comes out in the fall of 2020, and that gives you a couple extra months of gameplay. So for over a year of content, and then you can just tack in like another subscription service on top of that. So for 2 years of content, it's equivalent to 1 year of playing World of Warcraft or another subscription service game. That's around $12, $13 a month, while you also have to be worrying about your Xbox Gold or PlayStation Plus. This is the best value in gaming, effectively. But let's keep on going. $125 for one incomplete game. No, Pokemon Sword and Shield is complete. The expansion pass just makes it even better, and then all those other numbers, as we just talked about, they are completely justified because it costs money to run Pokemon Home. And even then, even if you don't pay, you still get 30 Pokemon for free inside of Pokemon Home. This means that you can use the GTS, you can get National Dex Pokemon, you can even complete your National Dex. All you do is you take 30 Pokemons from Sword and Shield, put them into your Pokemon Home, and then you can Wonder Trade those away. You can do 3 at a time. You can also do GTS. So you can even register Pokemon for the National Dex in your Pokemon Home without even paying for Pokemon Home. You can even room trade with your friends. And since this is Pokemon Home, you don't need the Nintendo Online service. So you can actually trade Pokemon online through Pokemon Home in a slightly restricted way and pay absolutely no money whatsoever and still have access to all of the Pokemon. Yes, moving Pokemon from bank is unavailable, but you still have those Pokemon in bank in your games and they're safe. And it makes sense because we're talking about storage for up to 6,000 Pokemon. It's cloud server storage, which costs money to upkeep. And then we're also getting updates for Pokemon Home. Even Pokemon Bank has gotten like updates and stuff like that. So the maintenance involved definitely justifies the price, as well as all the other features that you're getting beyond any other kind of subscription service for a game or company or stuff like that. We can just keep scrolling down, seeing the idiots, you know. How is this a scam? Paywalled Pokemon transferring. Well, I just debunked all that. Charging $16 a year for kilobytes. Yeah, but it's also the actual app and the functionality of the app itself. And you also have mystery gifts, as well as probably some other new features that are going to be coming into premium, battle data, fun stuff like that. So it is going to be a serviced app. You're not just going to be like dumping Pokemon to bank and then forgetting about them for a year until you have to pay $5 again. Sure, it probably is like kilobytes or something, but even then, what do you want? You want them to charge you 20 cents a month for your Pokemon? This is still all premium. This is still all something that you don't inherently have any right to or any entitlement to. You know, having your Pokemon being able to be transferred from as early as possible in Generation 3 all the way up until now. This is a great thing. Remember when everyone was like, oh my god, Pokemon Bank is the best thing ever. Now they're making it even better, more functional, and they're making it have more benefit to people, and people are more upset at it than ever. Doesn't make any sense. Paywall GTS? That's a lie, and it just captures the delusion that these people are so hateful and so stupid, they cannot get a single thing right about Pokemon Home or the current state of Pokemon Sword and Shield. And as I showed, yeah, you can actually GTS and even multi-Wonder Trade, and it's pretty much no different than having it inside of Pokemon Sword and Shield, except that it's less clunky. So you go into your Pokemon Home app, that automatically communicates with your Pokemon Sword and Shield game. You move the Pokemon Home, you put them on GTS. It's effectively like hitting the Ycom or going into your options menu. Instead of the options menu inside the game, you go to the option menu on your Switch, and it does the exact same thing, and it's a free GTS. How is anyone upset about that? Paywalled the National Dex. Didn't, because like I said, you can even get all of the Pokemon, because other people, they're going to premium it, they're going to get their Pokemon into Pokemon Home, and then they're going to trade away their National Dex exclusive Pokemon not in Pokemon Sword and Shield on the GTS, on Wonder Trade, in Room Trades, so you can even complete the National Dex in Pokemon Home, which will then stay with you for future games and future generations without paying money. Yeah, it's going to be pretty tough to do so, but it is absolutely possible, and also gives you a bonus box of Pokemon for free. No matter how you look at it, this is one of the most fair models for the amount of content and support that you get in all of gaming. And people are just trying to compare it to Temtem. Why would I spend $700 to have the National Dex? Because like people are just making up some kind of crazy arguments, like, oh, I need $300 to get a Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch has already been considered one of the best consoles from Nintendo, especially with the games library and value proposition and all the indie games outside of the incredible games like Breath of the Wild or anything else that you would be down for. We have Animal Crossing coming out, we have Breath of the Wild 2, we have Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. There's just going to be games for everyone outside of Pokemon, so the Nintendo Switch is not a $300 Pokemon platform or Pokemon player or anything like that. So they're just trying to like add in all the features and all the money and stuff like that. But when you compare it, Temtem will never have this level of ecosystem and support. It doesn't have the legacy that Pokemon has, and that is a big thing because you are buying into legacy. You are buying into the Pokemon you've had since Generation 4 or Generation 3 or even Generation 6. 3DS era. There's so much connectivity. There's so many features that are being carried over from game to game to game and then added into Pokemon Home, added through Pokemon Sword and Shield. That this is what I meant when I said at the beginning of the video, Pokemon is untouchable and it's only going to get more so. Temtem is going to have to work years to get even close. At the state of it, actually they're not even done. So for $35, there's like what, 70 Temtem available? So for, let's even say it like the most egregious, people are saying like $120. So for 1/4 of the price, you have 1/12 or more of the Pokemon and an immeasurable amount of less features inside of Temtem. Even when Temtem is quote-unquote complete, it's going to be sold for $60 and it's going to have microtransactions inside of it, and it's still going to be nowhere near what Pokemon Home, Pokemon Sword and Shield, and the expansion pass offers. So yeah, even then, like the value proposition will never be the same for Temtem as it is for Pokemon, and Pokemon is only going to get better as we get into the next year for 2021, 2022, what those games are looking like, what future support on Nintendo Switch is going to be, where Pokemon Home goes, and all of the other games. There was a patent filed for Poke Park. There's another one, what was it called? World Down? I think that's the recent patent. So Pokemon's making moves. And it's at this point where it's like, you have so many people that have gotten lost in some kind of invalid, indefensible hate. Fine, you're done. Just leave Pokemon. Shut up. This is the best value we've ever seen in Pokemon, and people are more upset than ever. I don't understand it. Yeah, I think that pretty much like addresses most of the arguments. It's just the same stupidity over and over again. It's purely a paywall when it's been debunked that it actually isn't a paywall at all. And then, I mean, the service pretty much had to be free. Pokemon Bank wasn't free, and this is like well beyond Pokemon Bank, so I don't know what this person was expecting. They're already charging us for Bank, except they're not, because you have that free month of Bank. So you just pay, you can even do the one time. It's actually cheaper than Pokemon Bank. Oh, I had the wrong page. There we go. So it's actually cheaper than Pokemon Bank because you can get a 1 month. So you get 1 month for 30 days. You just use that free 30 days on Bank. You drop everything in your Pokemon Sword and Shield, and then you just hang on from there. And that's what you've got. So that works out on a cheaper level just to bring your Pokemon over, even if you don't want to engage with Pokemon Home at all. And then this is where it gets funny. Y'all are too poor to be playing console games in 2020. If your only argument is you guys are poor, please shut up. This goes against what I've been seeing from Tim, because I've seen hundreds of comments of people saying you're complaining about a $35 early access game. Yeah, $35 for an early access is well above average than most early access games and even some finished games. Stardew Valley just hit like 10 million units sold, and it's a $15 game, and it's already a way better game than Tim. It's finished, and you can get hundreds of more hours of enjoyable, satisfying gameplay out of Stardew Valley than Tim. I understand it's a different genre, but it shows the value proposition for Tim is already terrible, and it's only going to get worse. The Tim community is out there mocking you for not wanting to put up $35 for an unfinished buggy mess, and then turning around going, oh, you're not allowed to use that argument to defend Pokemon. What? So, yeah, we've hit a very critical state in society. Pretty sure a lot of people are already aware of that just in general. Mass idiocy has flooded the Pokemon community. Toxicity has been taken over for years, and I've just been right for like the last, I don't even know how long anymore. I started doing like Pokemon with X and Y. I was doing YouTube before then. It's like 2013. And I was already calling out problems back then. So I mean, it's been really bad for like the last 5+ years, and it's only getting worse. And here's how we're seeing it: Pokemon making moves that we thought we'd never seen, and just kind of bringing the entire Pokemon ecosystem to a state that not even I, as just a dedicated Pokemon fan, thought possible. It's only going to keep on improving, and people are against it. So we've lost society. Culture is fucked, and Pokemon Home is amazing. So if you guys enjoy the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.